Right. Well, let's get rolling. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I'm your host, Ryan Kirk, and this is another episode in our long-running series, the Fliplogic Real Estate Show, where I take your questions for an hour and answer them in the order that they're received. And we'll run an hour or until all questions are exhausted. So this is a screen share format as well. I'm on the road. I'm not driving, obviously. So if you hear some background noise, it is what it is. But great. I'm looking forward to this. And James, are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay.
And I'm actually working off my hotspot, so my connection might have a little bit of a lag. So sorry, guys, it is what it is. But I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my screen so you guys can see my screen. All right. There we go. So everybody should be able to see my screen now. And again, get your questions into the Q&A box. I really want to make sure I get to everybody's questions this evening. And I actually want to start with one. He couldn't be on this evening, but he had a question, and I told him that I would answer it. And James, maybe you can help us fill in the gaps here on the question. It's actually from Mayan. And he asks if we could take a look at the numbers that he ran on Largo Avenue in Compton. And he says, and I guess kind of do a comparison to the photos online. I'm thinking it will take a little more to rehab the property, say $100,000. The cost multiplier information, he was having trouble finding that. So we'll start with that. So that's Largo. Is this one that you looked at, James?
Yeah. I looked at it once and gave him some tips on it and what we needed. And then I looked at it again today because he had mentioned it again that something was going on with it, that it may be falling out of escrow or something. And he's actually here with us on the participant side. So I saw your chat box there.
Oh, okay. Well, good. All right, then he is here. So, so there's the subject. There's the comps. So it looks like you guys have got good comps in there. You've got 3 comps, which is good. You want 2 or 3 comps minimum. They're all within the same subdivision here, which is great. And they've all recently, they've all recently sold. 2 within the last, 60 days. And then 1, maybe within the last 6 months.
Yeah, this actually is not the lead that I went over this one today, but this was not that should be the main focus for tonight, just simply because on title, the title doesn't reflect what it says on Zillow and the MLS. I think we're mainly going to be focusing on 2395 Daisy Avenue in Long Beach. We can talk about this one.
Okay.
If you want.
Yeah, I want to sum this up and bring it to a conclusion.
Okay, sure.
So the deal is Mayan found it. It fell out of escrow, or it's fallen out of escrow. You guys have got comps in here. It says it's a 1,300 square feet, but I guess you're saying that's it's different.
Yeah, this one.
What's the true layout? What's the true footprint?
Well, the other property that we're going to talk about is falling out of escrow. This one, they're just asking too much. They're asking like 300. It's worth about 4. They're asking 3. It's worth about 4. They bought it a year ago for 240. And A lot of it's in really, really poor condition. And if you were to like look at the pictures, you could see like, I think some of the house is made out of like plywood. And that's nowhere near close enough to try and get permits and get it back up to code. Like if there's plywood building attached to the house stating it's, livable condition, they're just going to want to tear that down. And it'd probably be torn back down to the 500 square feet that's on record. So that's why this one wouldn't work, is because just the condition it's in, and the pictures show it would. There's no way we could get it back up to code. At least that's my opinion.
All right, so I'll just I'll pull up the photos here on Zillow.
Yeah.
And you guys probably saw how I did that. I can just simply click on step number 1, and it will pull up Zillow for me. And now that it's doing that, we'll see here. Hopefully this isn't going to take too long to load, because again, I'm running off my hotspot here. Okay, so they're asking $290. They just reduced the price on the 10th. Oh, you're talking about this back conversion?
Yeah.
Like an enclosed patio.
Yeah.
And you're saying they converted that to living square footage?
Yeah. I mean, they say, due diligence. You can see it down there in the little blurb on the bottom right,
Well, it says sitting as a 2-1, 900 square feet with a detached 400 square foot bonus room, all on an approximately 5,000 square foot lot. So that bonus room, it basically looks like it looks like a converted enclosed porch or patio.
Yeah.
So they're saying it's so title shows 2-1 900 square feet, and then they're calling that back enclosed patio a bedroom. So they're saying it's 3 bedrooms, and then the 400 square feet, they're saying now it's 1,300 square feet.
Yeah.
So here's what we'll want to do. And I see it says fully fenced within the county, not the city. No pre-spill inspection, as is. So we got to value it as a 2-1 900 square feet.
Not even a 900 square feet. On title, it says 500 square feet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I pulled.
So it's
it's in the documents area. You can look at it.
So, okay. So they added on 400 to 900.
Yeah.
It should have been 400 on a 500. It sounds like.
Right.
Yeah, that one. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Then I would say we'd want to value it as a 2-1 500 square feet.
Right. Right. And at that point, it's worth like maybe in the low twos. So really you need to get it around 100 or, 150 or something like that. And I even looked at the zoning, and it's not a multifamily zone, I believe, if my memory serves correct. So you can't tear it down and build a multifamily home or structure.
I gotcha. Yeah, I see what you mean. And it just sold for $240.
Right.
And now they're trying to resell it. Yeah, I don't think there's any meat on this bone. I would just move on. it's not a good deal.
No, yeah, it's a
Okay. Cool. Asked and answered. Let me just check out the board here real quick. Guessing that's. All right. Yeah. So Mayan says, yeah, it's president accounted for. Okay. So we all went over that one. So that one's out. Okay. Moving on. You were saying there was one more question, or Mayan had one more lead, right, on Daisy?
Yeah, 2395 Daisy Avenue. I just made a note on it. You should be able to pull it up fairly easily.
So it's a 4-2. Zoom in here. So it looks like we've got 6 comps. So this is the one that's fire damaged, right?
Yes.
It's basically a tear down. So this is a property that's fire damaged so badly that it needs to be torn down. And it looks like, so the play here is, I remember this. So this is a tear down the existing home. It's a double lot. ARVs in the area are 650. James, you were telling me earlier, up to 700. So the play here is to scrape the existing structure, split the lot, build 2 homes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then that's going to be like 2. So that would be like 2 2,000 square foot homes?
I would say
2,500 square feet.
1,800 based off of this Golden Avenue comp right there. Yeah, right where your mouse is. 3-2.
Got it.
Rounded up to 1,800.
Okay.
676. So if you cut it in half, that comes to about, around 6,000.
1,755. So here's what we'll do we'll go to the property details. So I'm going to wipe out the existing square footage. We're going to make this a new square footage play, whether you were adding on square footage or, in this case, we're building something new. So I'm going to take 1,755 times 2, 3,510, right? And then we're just using this comp as our guideline. Which one was it? The 1,755, right? So it's going to be a 3-2, 1,755, right?
Yeah.
So then we're going to end up building 2 of those. So it's really going to be a 6-bed, 4 baths, and 3,510 square feet between the 2 homes. Our ARV is now going to be what, 650 times 2?
Yeah.
So it's going to be 1.3. We'll go back to our analysis. I'm not going to generate a CMA at this time. So we're going to wipe out the repair cost per square foot. I'm going to go to the new construction costs. And we're going to call it the cost to build a new home over there. It could be, and here's the information symbol that when you click on this, it pops up. There's a little eye, and it gives you a cheat sheet of how to do your price per square foot multiplier for your repair costs. That's in the existing, but we're doing new construction, so I'm down here. So a starter home, it could be anywhere from $90 to $150 a foot. And then more of your luxury home, and then you can get even, much further up than that into the luxury hillside home. But I'm going to say, let's call it 150 a foot. It might be 200. Let's call it 200 a foot. 200 a foot. And then the hold time on this could be 12, it could be 18 months. I mean, 2 houses. Could be 12, could be 18. I'm just going to go based off 12 at the moment. 12, 200. Making those assumptions. And then a rehab ROI. To build, it's a medium price neighborhood over there, so it's kind of tough to tell. You have to talk to a builder and see what's a realistic price per square foot to build a home over there. It would have to be around 150 bucks a foot, I would think, for it to make sense. In your land value. Do we know how much they owe on it? I think they owe $250. Is that right?
I don't know. I can check and see if I got the property profile up.
I remember looking at a property profile on there.
Property profile states they bought it in 1990. They got a couple of other loans on it. So I think they're going to be around 250. Yeah.
250. And they're asking, how much are they asking? 455?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be too much.
Yeah. And they should collect some kind of insurance money off of it as well. It's just one.
Guys, just a quick rule of thumb on this. I mean, builders, they typically want the land value on this is only going to be about 25% of the after repair value. It's only going to be about 25 to 30%. So 1.3 times a third, 0.333 is $432,900 is a third. Builders typically, they like to buy for a third, build for a third, profit for a third. So I think probably the most that a builder would be willing to pay would be a third, which would be $432,900. 1.3 times 30% is $390, and 1.3 times 25% is $325. So, in other words, I'm guessing we could probably wholesale it for somewhere between for about 400 to 430. So we'd want to set that as our target, 400 to 430. Let's just set it for 400. So now, Mayan, now you can go make your offer and negotiate. Because these numbers, these are variables. I'm not quite sure. I'm not real familiar with Long Beach and construction costs. These are rules of thumb. But working backwards or from the bottom up, just based off land value. We established an ARV, and now I'm guessing a builder is going to want it for about a third of that. So a third would be 430,000, 400 to 430. So knowing that, then you'd like to see if you could, your initial cash offer is 322 and your max is 376. Obviously we're pretty far apart, but I would call them and see, if it's falling out, why is it falling out? And realistically, what are they willing to, what's their bottom number? Because the 455 number just doesn't make sense. It's just way too high. So I'd ask them and see what their bottom number is. And they may give you some insight. They may say, you know what, if it's got a 4 in front of it, submit it. And that's when you're going to want to let them know, that's still too high. I'm thinking we got to be closer to 325. And they may say, oh my God, you're way too low. And then you can say, well, that's about 25% of the land value, or that's about land value. It's not good to get too specific. You don't want them to, it's poker. You don't want to be too specific, but you just want to let them know, well, that's where it makes sense. Maybe we can meet in the middle somewhere. Would the seller consider 350? So 350 and 375, is your max, because you're going to want to try to sell it around, 400. But call them, see what's going on, see what the true bottom number is, and then see if 325, let them know that's what you're thinking. I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any other questions on that. James, do you have anything else you want to add?
Yeah, as previously mentioned, on my notes there, we typically approach some deals, as if, a reno, or what we would do for one house, as a buy instead of a build, simply because if a buyer, or if one of our buyers comes in that's a builder and says, no, I wouldn't want to build on this, I would just take it as is and reno it. If you were to reconfigure the numbers back to 650, we would have to be lower than the 300 number. We'd have to be in the twos. So you could play it either way, but it's more, we can offer more as a build, but if any of our builders come back, they're going to say, no, we want it as just a reno and your price is too high, then we have to go back and renegotiate even further. But it's something to play by ear as you're negotiating it.
So what gives you the ability to be flexible, though, Mayan, is you're going to want to obviously make your offer with an inspection period. I would say give yourself a 14-day inspection period and a 30-day close with the offer. But before you write it up, have that conversation with them that you're interested, you've been looking at it, you've known about the property since before it hit the market. But there's just, what's the realistic bottom number that the seller's willing to take, because it doesn't pencil, it doesn't make sense, in the fours. And so you can just tell them, I don't want to offend you or the seller, but this thing really needs to be, we're just way off on price, and I want to know realistically what the seller's best prices or bottom number that they're willing to do. And then see if you can get the number from them first, because he who says price first loses. So you want to try to get them to say a price, but you can just hint that it's way too far apart. But I would agree, it's always better to start low and come up. So 250 would be ideal, but I believe a builder will pick it up somewhere around 390, 390, 400. So with that being said, if nobody else has anything to add on that, let me check the chat here.
Yeah, I got disconnected there.
See, Mayan says it has a pending offer. What can we do to be ready if the current offer falls through? Well, what you can do to be ready is again since it's on the market, I mean, the only thing you can do to be ready is the most ready you can be is to present it to a few of your investors, or for us to present it to some investors and say, hey, look up this address. What do you think? Would you be interested? And what would you be willing to pay? But the problem is it's already on the market, so you can't do that, right? You got to have this thing under contract before you share it with any investors, just because you have to have control in order to share the details on this one. So the best thing to be ready, since it's listed, would just be to have a conversation with the agent. What's the realistic bottom number? Is this thing going to fall out? And what's the seller's bottom number? Because it doesn't pencil, at the current price it's at. And tell them we're thinking closer to 325. So, and then when they say that they are ready, or that it will be falling out, that the seller would be open to that, then as soon as it falls out, we can write it up and send it over. Or we could even put it in as a backup offer. We just want to know verbally. We kind of want to figure that out first, that it is going to fall out and that they would be willing to consider something in the low threes. So that's one of the things that some realtors will do, is they'll overprice it like this to get the seller all high, because the seller thinks they're going to get 450,000 because it's what they're listing it at. But 30 days later, next thing you know, all their offers, the only thing that they're getting is in the low threes or mid threes or high threes. So, okay. And one other thing I'd like to share, if nobody else has any other questions, is this data James is pulling. It actually comes from, it's public record data, but our feed, we actually have a new feed that's going to be coming in here, and it's going to actually have more data than what we originally had in here. So right now, James is just pulling property profiles through Tycor Title Online, Tycor Online Pro, but I would say today's Monday. I would say probably within the next 72 hours, later on in the week, we will have that data here for you under the public record. So the mortgage data, foreclosure data, sales history, name, address, all of that.
So, hey, Ryan.
Yeah.
I believe I'm pretty sure I received an email or something about generating proof of funds as well. And I believe you can just show real quick how to do that on the actions tab right up there.
So proof of funds is actually generated. Oh yeah, you can generate it here.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just generate it there, and it'll actually populate the address in there for you. And then you just got to fill in the rest. Once you fill in the rest, check the box, hit submit, and then the system will email you a proof of funds letter that you can submit with your offers. So that's how you can do it within the lead, or you can just do it over here under the funding tab, and you just go to proof of funds, and then you can fill it out there as well. So you just got to make sure you fill it all out, check the box, so then that way you can generate it with the submit button there. And then this is the funding schedule. So this is the funding fee schedule if we're going to fund it. If you're going to assign it, then you don't need to use the funding to double close it. It's just going to be an assignment, and that will actually save the closing costs and funding fee. And then if you want a deal partner 50-50, we can fund it, or we'll assign it and you won't have the funding piece. Because obviously we're making up for it with the deal partnering split. And then of course, then we assign you a transaction manager if you deal partner with us, and then we'll put up the deposit if needed, and then we'll help market the property, help negotiate, all of that. So, you know, we got a vested interest in the deal, so obviously we're gonna, you know, help you make sure it gets managed and negotiated and closed, you know, for the biggest margin possible. Cool. Any other questions? Let's see, a couple more questions here. Wesley says, Ryan, if we wanted property locators to find property and load into Fliplogic, can we add them as users? You will be able to, but as of right now, you would just need to give them your login and password so that they can log in and do that. Mayan says, do we need an entity for proof of funds? No, you do not need an entity for proof of funds. You can generate proof of funds in your personal name. However, we cannot fund it in your personal name. We can only fund an entity. So if you don't have an LLC or a corp set up yet, that's okay. You can still generate proof of funds. You can still submit those with your offers. We'll still, you know, back them up with a bank statement. You can still assign those deals, but we can't fund that deal for you if it's in your personal name. But you can see how you can still assign, you can still contract and assign deals in your personal name. Funding you really only need it if it's an REO, a real estate owned, you know, bank owned property, or if it's a short sale. Those are both transaction types that are not assignable. So if you don't have an LLC or corp yet, you can set that up maybe after your first deal. You can set it up now if you want, but you can also, you don't have to. If you don't want to go spend the money on that, you don't need to. You can do your first deal and then go set it up. So I hope that helps. Let's see. William says 10th Avenue, is it in the system? It says disregard it. Is it disregard question? Is it a way for us to run over this one? Like to actually like cover in depth 5468 10th Avenue? So here's 5468 10th Avenue. Let's see, have you comped it yet? So no comps yet. So I would hit fetch comparables, and this will pull up the comps. And then I'm gonna click use Zillow because Zillow's already got the beds back. And you know, just there's more data in there. So now that I'm gonna play that, or sorry, fetch it. It says we were able to automatically calculate an ARV of, what's that say, 1.532 for good comps. So I'll click OK. Let me see. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to click use the overridden value. I guess I don't know what happened there, but I'll click that. So we've got an ARV of 605. Comps that were selected. Now, those are suggested comps, but you always want to review and make sure, you know, that those are applicable. You know, you cross over slots in here. I don't know, this neighborhood may change. But we're a 1532 square feet on an 1,100 square foot lot. So obviously this comp is not going to work. This is probably one of the best comps. The lot size is half the size. It's not necessarily the best comp. So you got a lot of comps to choose from here. So I can dig into it a little bit, but William, you'll definitely want to go back, and I don't have that much time to spend on it right now. We've got a few more minutes, and then I've got to jump off. But what I would suggest is go through these comps and find the ones that are most applicable. Yeah, there's just a lot of comps here. It's not one that it's not like I can just pick 2 or 3 real easily. What you'll want to do is look at the comps and make sure, like this one at 430, it suggested this one. You're pretty close in square footage. We're a little larger. We're 200 square feet larger on the footprint, and then we're almost double the lot size. So we're probably going to be, if we were to look at this one, so I'm just going to click on the link and let's see if this one was rehab, to see what kind of condition it's in. So there's no photos here on Zillow. I'll look at the price history to see if it was a flip or not. And it doesn't show. So this may not be in an after repair value condition. If it was bought and sold twice within 12 months, that tells you that it was a flip. So I don't know, anything else that jumps out at you here, James? This one's sold for 430. This one's much smaller. I'm guessing the 430 price is.
If you scroll up, just scroll all the way up for me real quick. Scroll all the way up.
Yeah.
And just click that number tab where next to preview link and address up on the top little bar. Yeah.
Oh, this right here?
Yeah.
So those were the system selected comps, but you've got double the lot size and everything here, almost double.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is pulling outside of the little block radius.
I know. Maybe I'll reset the filters, and then let me try to repull and see if that will help us at all. Gave us the same. Well, I think this one's new. Is that new? 729. That one's a 4.2, 1,700 square feet.
Yeah, you can
sold for 729.
You can also click that date sold that you'd clicked up there. You can click that and do it.
You have to pull up the most recently sold at the top.
Yeah, 450, 610, 4,800 square feet.
I mean, that 2.1 could be changed around to 3.2. It's large enough, 1,500 square feet.
Yeah.
Let me just go by distance. So
yeah.
Distance, I mean, that's a pretty great comp. It's a little old, July. but it shows that you could hit the 730 number. Well, or not hit that number. I mean, we're a little smaller than that, but
just a little bit further down on Burnhurst Avenue. I think it's down one more under that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seven something for just last March.
Yep, that's a good one.
So they could hit.
Yeah, that one's great. That's probably the best one so far. This one's 1990. I'm going to get rid of that. Got to keep in mind our year built's 1916. Some of these newer ones here, like this one, obviously, why did this one sell for $1,050,000? Well, it's new construction.
Yeah.
So this I'm going to get rid of this 9th because this is probably pre-reno. It's probably like a wholesale fixer. And I bet you 715. I think that's I think ARV could be right there around 730.
I would say 750. Because you got a couple thousand extra square feet on the lot space.
Yeah, I mean this one sold for 785.
Yeah, that's pretty old though.
Yeah.
What about a
not
value?
Over a year, almost.
What about an add-on? Can you do a 500 square foot add-on, and then you could probably hit 800, like that 780 where your cursor is on? Yeah, before you get rid of it. Oh,
I think I did.
Yeah, you did.
But I think we've got enough value here. What are they asking? What's our?
In the fours.
We're asking in the fours.
No, 575.
575.
Yeah.
So if they're asking 575, our ARV is what,
750.
750. Look at this one. This one sold for 760. That's older too. We got that huge lot though.
Yeah, you gotta account for the bigger lot. It does sit on the corner though. Looking at it. So maybe your value
I would say let's
730.
7. Yeah, that's 730 though. That one was older. I don't know. I think maybe 7.
I would say 730 is about right. It does sit on the corner. Corners are noisier. Yeah, it does have extra lot land, but
it's got the huge lot. Let's just put 760 on it. I think that's
okay.
a pretty fair number. 760. So Williams already got $33 a foot in here. So on the awful side, you see it's $20 to $75 a foot. 33 is usually for like this price point of a neighborhood. 1,500 square foot, 3.2, needing a full rehab with a new roof on a 1,500 square foot home is probably going to be about $33 a foot, or about $50,000. I will say, because it's 1916, if most likely electrical or plumbing, I'm sure it's been upgraded before, but who knows how old that plumbing and electrical is. So because it's so old, I'm going to say our reno costs are going to be, they're going to be higher. Let's call it $40 a foot. And then I wanted to see, wow, definitely going to need some landscape. Hardscape. It's been on for 8 days. And then remember, we're also going to have to turn this 2-1 into a 3-2. I don't know. What do you think? I think maybe closer to $50 a foot.
Yeah, it makes sense.
All right, so $50 a foot, 4-month hold time, and these assumptions are already defaulted in 80% for the purchase and repair costs for the loan amount, 10% rate, 10% ROI. So it's suggesting a max rehab price of $558. It's what, if you're going to rehab it, you wouldn't want to pay any more than that. If you're going to wholesale it, that's what you're going to want to sell it at, right? Your rehabbers are going to want it around $558. What are they asking? $575. It's been on for 8 days. So $575. Look, if you want to put that in here to see what it looks like. It leaves about a $52,000 net rehab profit, about 7.5 ROI. Somebody still do that deal. I mean, it's still profitable, but it's a lot of work. I don't know if somebody is going to want
to. That's a lot.
Do it for that
with very little return.
So it looks like your number is probably going to be, investors are going to want it closer to 550 to 560.
More likely 550. People like working with round numbers. I like working with round numbers.
Or 560.
Yeah.
So let's just say that your target's 558. So William, you're going to need to be obviously under that. So call it 538 for your max. If you offer 490 for the initial, it's probably going to be, not in the ballpark since it's listed. If it was unlisted, that would be a different story. All right, so I hope that helps, William. Does William have any other questions on that, or does anybody else have any other questions on William's lead there? So William says, okay, you look at photos on Zillow, it needs major work, an older person stays there. So I would, it's available though, right? 575, they're asking too much. So I'd maybe come in, I'd call them up and see if it's still available. Let them know, hey, if we jump and close quickly on this, if we come in, I would ask them, hey, if we come in and we do a 3-day inspection and a 10-day close, we'd like to be at 500. Is that something that the seller would entertain? And then obviously the agent will double end it. And if you wanted to come up a little more than 500, again, maybe, say like, we'd like to come in at 505, 505, 500 or something like that. But then it gives you room to come up because, yeah, I think your exit on that's going to be somewhere between 550, 560. So I would start above the initial and then stay below the max. I hope that helps. Cool. All right. So William says copy that. All right. Lock it up. Sounds good. All right, guys. We got about 8 minutes left, and I'm out of questions. So unless anybody else has, let's see. Tim says, what if you don't make the deal in time by closing? What if you don't make the deal in time by closing? So I think you mean, like for instance, in William's case or his example, we're talking about, maybe a 10-day close, 3-day inspection, 10-day close. So what if we don't get it sold within the 3 days, right? Because you're really working within your inspection period, because you don't want your deposit to be at risk until you've got a commitment from an investor, right? So if that happens, Tim, you only have 3 options. Number one, which is not a good one, let your deposit go at risk because you believe you can get the deal sold and then continue to market it. Don't do that, right? That's number one. Number 2 is ask for an extension of time. Let them know that, hey, we're still firming up our numbers. We need another, whatever it is, based on what our investors are telling us or your investors are telling you, maybe we need a few more days. So let's ask for an extension of time for whatever it is, a 3-day extension, 5-day extension. And then the third option is you just at that point you cancel. So you either ask for an extension of time or you cancel. Those are really the 2 options you want to go with. So I hope that makes sense. And don't worry, I mean, that's going to happen. That's going to happen all the time. Why did I tell William 3 days inspection and a 10-day close? It's a really tight timeline. Obviously, it makes it very attractive for a seller in a more competitive market like Los Angeles here. But that's because we already have a pretty strong investor list in this area. So we know as soon as we have it under contract, we send it out. We're going to have activity and interest on it, same day, next day. So we know we can move it quickly. If you don't have a strong buyers list in that area yet, then you're going to want to give yourself more time. Give yourself something like a 10-day inspection period and a 14-day close or a 21-day close. Really conservative would be like a 14-day inspection and a 30-day close. So if you want to start there and work your way backwards, you can. I hope that helps. All right, we got about 5 minutes left. Anybody else have any other questions in closing? It looks like that's it. All right, everybody. Well, let's see. Nope. Okay. All right, cool. Well, that's a wrap. So thanks everybody for being here. I will see you all same time, same place next week, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You all be well.